So once you've set up your classes, um, this will be what it looks like for the students. You or the students would go to design. I would create, and I would create a 3D design. And the first thing that you want students to do is to go down to settings here in the lower right-hand corner and set your workspace at 165 by 165. Make it your default, and then close the settings. Um, this will coincide with the Ender 2 printer, the print bed. So if you happen to be using a different printer, then you would set it for the size of your print bed so kids don't make something too large. And I'm going to close my settings, and that will stay for the remainder of the time that you're on Tinkercad. So over here are shapes, and these are basic shapes. Notice that I can go down and choose structures, towers, bridges. I can choose vehicles and machinery, tires, wheels, but I'm going to go back to basic shapes. So just to get an idea of how to use Tinkercad. So what I would do is I would drag my shape over. And there's a couple different ways that I can manipulate the shape on my work plane. I can go up here and change the length and the width by dragging the dot. Or I can press on that little dot and go in and actually change my shape. Sorry, change the size of my shape by typing it in here. So I could change it to 36. And then I could change that up here. And then notice that when you click up here above, this pops up with the wheel, and I can actually flip my shape around because maybe I wanted it to print like this on the 3D printer. So again, I'm manipulating the shape and turning it. And again, I have the ability to move around there, and also down here, I could move it on the bed as well. So I can move the shape either from the top with the two arrows or at the bottom. And then if I want to move my design up or down, I would get the little triangle and do that. One thing really important when you're doing the 3D printing, up here in the left-hand corner is will manipulate my bed. So I'm going to go forward, and I want to make sure that my design is sitting on 0, 0 here. So it adheres to the bed. If my shape was up here, it's above the bed and it won't print. And if for some reason I put it below the bed, it won't print. So I just want to have that at 0, 0. So just checking that with students. And I can look at my design from all the different angles. And if I get confused about where I am, I can always click the home button and bring it back to the work plane like this. So again, manipulating here, or I can manipulate physically on the shape, or I could actually type in the numbers that I'd like to see. So once I've got my shape done, I can add anything I want to it, but notice that these gray boxes here are cutters. And so I'm going to bring that over, and I'm going to stop right here and go to the front, grab my arrow, and I do want this to go through because I'm cutting a hole in my shape. You'll do this for the luggage tag or a keychain in order to put something through it. So I've gone through there, and my shape has gone below the 0 line in order to cut a hole. So I'm going to go back home, and I can kind of see what I've done here. And in order to make anything stay together when printing or cutting, I have to group the shapes. So I'm going to click on the red box, hold down my shift key, click on my hole that I've cut, and notice that I see that I've grabbed two shapes right here. And right here is the group button. So I'm going to click group, and now the hole has cut through my shape. So I have a hole in my design. So again, I always have to group my items. So if I was to bring over text, I'm going to go to the front. I want to embed that text in there or it's not going to print. To go back to the front. So I've got some text in there, but it's reminding me that I need to grab these things and group them. That's why you see the green box. So I'm going to click on my red shape and then I'm going to click on text. Notice that I've grabbed two shapes and I'm going to put them together. So now when it prints, the shapes are grouped together. So now you can see my text is there. I probably should have embedded that a little bit further, but this is like, I could put my name, I could punch a hole, I could always, if I had room on there, I could go in and put in a soccer ball, pumpkin, something, and I can continue to look for shapes till I found something, and I would put that over there. And so basically, this is kind of the basics of working with Tinkercad. I can always undo and do up here. And if the student's design was done, it always names this something crazy. So make sure that kids come up here and they put in their name and then they label what it is because you'll want to know whose print job it is, and I'll show you that a little bit later and exactly what it is you're printing. And so that will make it easier than having some kind of crazy name, but at least being able to give it back, know who's what the student is, the classroom, and what the project name is, whatever you decide to do that. So this is now saved. Tinkercad is saving my designs. Um, Kids are able to see that, save their designs, and you're able to see them as well. So that's kind of the basics of using Tinkercad.